The wayfinding landscape is changing, so welcome to Endpoint's new Wayfinding Xchange Podcast. We want to connect with digital and tech specialists to exchange knowledge of new technologies and wayfinding solutions. We want to shape the future of digital wayfinding through discussion, collaboration, and shared expertise. And this is why we have created this new podcast series. Enjoy the episode.
Hi everybody, welcome to the first podcast session organised by Endpoint. This is a brand new activity for us to connect with digital and technical partners. We want to shape the future of digital wayfinding through discussion, collaboration and shared expertise. So we've created a hub for digital wayfinding and digital insights on our website. Which will contain a series of podcast interviews and inspiring articles that we will share regularly. So to kick off this series, we thought we'd start in-house. So let me introduce to our first guest to the podcast. It's Fariz Ahmad, who is actually our studio director in Endpoint and has been with us now for 4 years.
Yeah, exactly.
He's our studio manager, so he has a view over all the projects, large and small, in the Dubai office. And prior to joining us in Dubai, a fairly varied career, but from mainly in branding and brand implementation in Singapore and in Dubai. So, Fariz, you also look after sort of our the digital side and the innovation side of projects in Dubai, and he's put a lot of people and expertise together. So we thought it'd be a great place to start by interviewing Fariz and seeing what he has to say about the local market. Yeah, we've been there for now 15 years. Yeah, they wanted to position themselves as a leading light in the smart city arena. And I think they were one of the first people to appoint a local dignitary to run the Smart City initiative. So how's that influencing some of the briefs we're getting from a wayfinding perspective? What are the sort of key components of smart city and smart city thinking, and how are we as a team managing the work towards smart city initiatives? Tell us all about smart cities, basically, Fariz.
Firstly, thank you very much for having me. This is really exciting, and especially the topic of smart city or smart wayfinding is something that I'm passionate about, as you know. And I have been leading all the smart wayfinding digital projects, and recently we delivered some really interesting, exciting, successful projects in the region. So talking about smart city, as you know, it is actually a municipality that uses information and communication technologies to increase operational efficiency, share information with public, and improve both the quality of government services and citizens' welfare. So that's pretty much, I guess, in a paragraph, what smart city entails. But while the exact definition may vary, the overarching mission of a smart city is actually to optimize the city's functions and drive economic growth. Other than, of course, improving the quality of life for its citizens, you can use actually smart technology and the data that is available to use it to our advantage. And also value is given to the smart city based on what they choose to do with the technology. And it is also not just about how much technology they may have. So if we look at Dubai, for example, the smart city vision of Dubai is actually to make Dubai the happiest city on earth. How interesting is that? They are in fact being the forefront in the smart city technology and in the industry. So if you look at Dubai's rapid development in the various economic sectors, it meant that the traditional processes needed to be continuously updated to ensure efficiency and speed. So, for example, if you look at the government effectiveness of Dubai, it has become increasingly imperative, especially in the government to consumer sectors or the government to government sectors. So in 2021, the Dubai government actually started going completely paper-free eliminating more than 1 billion pieces of paper used for government transactions every year. So if you imagine, Gideon, when you were renewing your visa, for example, all that paperwork that you had to go through, it's no longer necessary. Everything is just done online. It's so easy. And as of the most recent article that they just announced a few days back, they're going to even get rid of your visa sticker on your passport. So meaning all you have is going to be the Emirates ID, and that's going to be enough as a visa proof that you are residents of Dubai. So you can see that every year the government is actually working really hard to improve and introduce smart technologies. And even the Emirates ID that you have right now, it's really cutting edge. It's one of the latest in the industry. Basically, you can't find it anywhere else. So working across all these government entities, the integrated framework marks another major step towards making Dubai a smart city of the future and improving the happiness levels for all staffs, residents, citizens alike. And it saves a lot of time, resources, and of course the environment. So how does it apply to us in Dubai studio is that the happiness meter is actually one of the first strategic smart city initiatives used to measure and improve happiness in Dubai. So we use the same tool basically to gather and to collect experience feedback. And what it is actually, through the centralized data dashboard, a map of happiness across the city can be created, which allows the private sector and government entity with various happiness meter touch points to relate and rank customer experiences within the industry sectors and geographic areas, as well as differentiate them between direct and web-based interactions. So I'm sure you must have experienced, like for example, using the RTA app, where at the end of your transaction, they will show you three faces, whether sad face, smiley face, or angry face. One of those, if you click, that is the happiness meter that we're talking about. It's just a feedback to the government to tell them how good your service is and how to improve it as well. And this initiative is in fact the first of its kind in the world to gauge delightful experiences across the city, including the private sector and government entities in parallel. So again, back to our studio here in Dubai, our strategy is to develop smart wayfinding solutions for developments, which also has happiness at its core. And as the city is transformed, our approach to developing wayfinding strategies and design focuses heavily on creating one-of-a-kind, technologically advanced solutions to raise and sustain happiness levels of the users. Our aim is to provide a pleasant navigation experience for all users, one that is seamless, safe, personalized, memorable, and efficient. As you know, people today are accustomed to having some degree of freedom in how they access information. And because of that, we think that development should take advantage of smart wayfinding technologies to give users a more modern approach to navigating and getting where they need to go. So in a nutshell, a well-designed smart wayfinding system can actually work to cater to all user needs, regardless of age, gender, race, interest, and physical capabilities. But it doesn't mean that you don't need static signs. Physical static signs and smart digital wayfinding can actually work in isolation, but are best actually experienced when you use them in parallel as a seamless coordinated system. Now, this is what we call the sweet spot for wayfinding. So what it is actually the physical navigation journey. When supported by a smart wayfinding feature in an app, for example, it can provide an inclusive, enjoyable, and socially engaging user experience. So all the user need to do is simply launch the app whenever they want to, and all the information they want is right at their fingertips and within their control. So the communication platform between physical signs and smart digital wayfinding app, for example, also provides a unique tool that enables developments to engage with the users on a more personal level beyond wayfinding use. So for example, a smart digital wayfinding app can actually identify the location of the user in real time and provide geolocation specific content, such as information on retail promotions available that are within close proximity to the user en route to that destination, And they can also advertise customized content based on the user's social media information that they share publicly, or the preference settings, and many more.
Quite a lot to get stuck into, Faris. I love the idea that in Dubai that that this smart city initiative is it's completely linked to this idea of happiness. That's not normally something you hear about when people start, especially engineers, start talking about smart cities. It's usually sort of about this collection of data and what you can do with data to make things more efficient. I love the idea of trying to collect data and make improvements to just make people happier. Um, okay, so the smiley face thing that's appearing everywhere at the end of every sort of government service that you use at the moment.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting, because obviously I find personally sometimes the more I get to use technology more and more, especially in physical environments, it can be as frustrating as hell. I'm sure we've all experienced that at times. So tell us about some of the innovative projects that you guys have been working on in Dubai, and how do you see innovation in wayfinding
Yeah.
progressing from your point of view?
In my opinion, in today's experience driven world, people want more than just getting to their destination. They want to be amazed during the journey. So the expectations is really high in terms of that wayfinding experience. So it is always important to think about wayfinding as a multi-dimensional process, and that we can make its design functional, unique, and fun at the same time for the users. So for me, innovation in wayfinding is all about creating meaningful and memorable experiences. And how do we achieve that? We can achieve that simply by leveraging on emerging technologies. For example, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, or even what I foresee becoming more and more relevant to wayfinding is the ultra haptics technology, that you can create sensational experiences. So one of these ideas that we apply is actually in one of the recent projects that I mentioned to you earlier, which is one of our most innovative and digitalized projects that we've worked on to date. This is for a project in Saudi. It's in Medina. It's called Ruwa Al Medina, and the project is about developing smart city solutions plan for them. Uh, it is definitely a very interesting project, and my experience is working with a wider consulting team of the project, which comprised of industry and discipline experts, was certainly exciting and invigorating. You can never get these, what I would call the dream team, together to develop some interesting ideas. And because by having these discipline experts as part of the team, we get to push the boundaries of technology and create amazing integrated solution that puts Ruwa Al Medina in the first 10 most advanced smart city in the world. And that's what we managed to achieve. It's really impressive. We can mention the lead consulting team. They are Parsons, and they do have a dedicated smart city team on the project. And we are the only external consultant representing Parsons. Everybody else is from Parsons, from all the various disciplines. And we're talking about the top guys in the team. We have doctors and engineers, very experienced people. They're called experts in the team for every discipline, representing that discipline. So when we presented the ideas to Ruwa Al Madina, they were really impressed. They were blown away, in fact, by the technology ideas that we have. And because it's a combined effort, you actually get to put really interesting ideas together that overlaps with the other technologies that you have. For example, with smart parking, with variable message signs, and in addition with wayfinding. So it became a very, very, I would say, a holistic solution that we create for them. And not only for them to start thinking about or planning the implementation process now, it is also to carry them forward in the future. And they're going to be the benchmark in KSA with this solution.
Excellent. So when we start delving into technology and the possibilities of certainly smart cities, it's obviously a collaborative approach. There's no one owning this space in its entirety. Are you finding clients in the region open to that sort of collaboration, and they're looking for that sort of collaboration, are they?
Yes, we can see a lot more requests or demand in smart technologies, especially when if you talk about the day-to-day operations right now for any new project that we work on, there's always a BIM requirement. And BIM is one of a smart technology that's being introduced into projects to not just manage projects, but to create the 3D model of the entire development, which eventually will be handed over for the operations team and the facility management team to continue managing that model with a live implemented, constructed development. In the smart technology or terminology, that we call this the digital twin. So you have a physical constructed development while you also have a virtual development that is mirroring each other. So for every little thing that you do, you can actually test out on the model before you put it physically on site. And what I feel is going to happen as we progress forward in the years to come is that clients are becoming more and more receptive towards this idea, and they would probably go further and want us to push the boundaries even more. And everything should be going towards digital innovation.
Yeah, yeah. I think we've all been on that sort of BIM, Revit, 3D modeling journey. And I think you're right. I think the exciting part of that is not necessarily in the design phase of the project or even the building phase, which, yeah, there's obviously lots of advantages to working in 3D. But it's that sort of post-occupation, long-term opportunity that having, like you say, that digital twin. I think, yeah, it's another data set. And I just wonder, when we're talking about Saudi Arabia and smart cities, there's lots of things that create lots of data and big data sets. And I think the cities that are going to be successful are the cities that, without too many barriers, allow people access to that data, or that they license the data to certain developers. The more access you get to that data, the more interesting products and services people are going to be able to innovate around. If you're not allowed access to that data, then your smart city is not probably going to go very far. Do you see that happening in Saudi? Are there not issues around information, data protection, and all that type of problem?
Um, yeah, I think that's a very important subject to think about, especially when you talk about data privacy. The technology that is currently being developed and introduced allows for you to set your preferences. Now, when you talk about development operated or the facility management operations team, they need to have full access to all the data available, whether it's CCTV, whether it's footfalls, and those kind of data are basically useful information that helps them operate the development a lot better and making it more efficient for the visitors, for the users, for the residents to have a smoother experience in whatever they do, whether traveling from point A to point B or finding a parking space, for example. So in that sense, I think the privacy level for those are not something that the user or the general public need to be concerned of, because it is to help them improve or enhance their experience. However, when it comes to more personalized technology like an app, where you want the development to, or the development wants to take advantage of the information that the physical or the personal user is using, that's where you need to allow for privacy settings to be controlled by the user themselves to decide what they want to give or not.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I guess for me personally, having set up Endpoint some 20 odd years ago now, watching how technology's progressed in that time, it's very easy to feel left behind. How do you see, especially digital innovation, in our sphere of wayfinding and placemaking? How do you think that'll influence sort of our own team's makeup? Obviously, there's a level of expertise or a level of experience now that is beyond just good graphic design and good product design. Do you think we'll be introducing people into the team with other areas of expertise in the future?
Yeah, I definitely think that even our graphic designers or wayfinding designers have to look at digital in some of their designs, and understand how it can be integrated or incorporated, because it's becoming more and more apparent now that for every project that we do, there is always a digital component that we have to consider. And when we talk about digital, it's no longer as simple as a touch screen that tells you how to get from point A to point B in a mall. The expectation is a lot more than that. We're talking about wearables. We're talking about smart glasses, for example, in projects today, where the client wants to know how we can enhance that overall experience and not just talk about getting from point A to point B with the signs that you see using some digital screens along the way. So that is something that our designers have now, I would say, getting themselves more in the know and familiarizing themselves with the modern day technologies, combined with the graphic design work that they do, combined with the design of the strategy and of course the physical science itself. We have to be clever about it, and it's definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah, it's I think the whole world of screen-based wayfinding and screen-based graphics is a little bit daunting because
Yeah.
it just feels a bit sort of like the Wild West. In that a lot of those rules are not entirely set. However, I guess that medium allows for quicker development, so you can try, you can test, you can refine very quickly on screen, rather than if we stick a huge fabricated sign on the side of the building or various totems around the development. If they're wrong, they're quite expensive to replace. Whereas I guess with smart technologies, screen-based technologies, even though the rules may not be fully set yet, you can test them and change them and refine them very quickly, which I guess then would impact on our process, not just the expertise we have in-house, but also the way we go about designing new, smarter, innovative products. I'm from a product design background, which is very much about now sort of service design. It's almost like we're moving into that service design arena. Is that how you feel that some of these projects may go in the future, especially if we're really focusing on screen-based wayfinding tech?
Yes, absolutely. Whether we like it or not, our lives are more affected by technology every day, and it's changing how we do just about everything, right? So when you look at how we navigate from place to place, it is actually still a fundamental human activity and an integral part of our everyday life. What I think the future is going to look like is that we will have static signs still. It will still exist in most built environments, but the information or the content will eventually be replaced by digital screens and integrated into mobile devices and wearables, such as smart glasses or even contact lenses, for that matter. So the wayfinding information on the digital screens and smart glasses or contact lenses will appear when you need them, and it disappears when you don't. So that's where I can see that it's going. So as you mentioned earlier, you have a physical sign with static, permanently built-in messages are no longer going to be that way anymore. You probably have a screen, and it can be a clear glass, which will have the information just appear as you walk closer to it, because that's when you need that information. But otherwise, you're looking through the glass with the environment behind you, whether it be a retail store, or it could be just a door into a residential development.
Yeah. So hopefully there's still a world for some of us older people who still like a beautifully typeset analog sign. But I don't think we can escape the fact that the world and technology is going to be more pervasive in our daily lives.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's probably about it for now. And, I'd just like to thank you for your time out of your busy day. And I can't wait to see some of these projects coming to light and bearing fruit and seeing how they, improve and better the experience of place, which is still what we're here for. So thanks very much, Fariz. That was great.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. And it's really great that I have this opportunity to share my passion in smart digital wayfinding. Look forward to seeing a lot more exciting new technologies that we introduce.
Brilliant. Super. Thanks a lot, Fariz.
Thank you for listening to our latest Wayfinding Xchange podcast. Stay tuned for further episodes and feel free to contact us with any questions and suggestions for future episodes.